Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. Today we are going to learn about window functions in SQL. Let me first read out the definition. A window function is a function that performs calculations across set of rows related to the current row within a specified window. Unlike aggregation functions, window functions do not collapse the result into a single row. The definition may not be clear to you, so let me show you first example, then I will again come back to the definition. I have created a table. In this table we have employee ID, employee name, department ID, salary. Just let me draw the table once. We have employee ID, employee name, department ID and salary. Okay, we have all these details. Now if I ask you that give me the sum of the salaries for each department. See, this you can do, select sum salary from table name. This will give you the total sum, right? Total sum. But you have to calculate sum of salaries for each department. See here, for department ID 10, what is the sum of salary? For department ID 20, what is the total salary? That is your output. So, you have to write group by department ID. You know these things. So, it will give you, you have to select department ID also. Right. Now, let me show you. See, department ID, what is the salary, total salary as per the department ID. But the question is not same here. The question is while still displaying individual salary. So see, your output will be here. Everyone's name will be there. Alice, Alice's employee ID, Alice's department ID, Alice's salary. Then you have to show the total salary column. So you have to write total salary. So here the total salary column will be there. Next row, employee ID 2 for Bob, department ID maybe 10 or 20, Bob's salary. Then you have to show the total salary. You understand? You have to keep every row, every individual's details with the total salary of their department. This is the question. So see the definition now. Aggregate functions collapse the result into a single row, but unlike aggregate functions, window functions do not collapse the result into a single row. So if you can show that this result, this is not collapsing into a single row, this is called the window function. Okay, so now let's see how to use this window function. Okay, so I am not going to use group by, right? So I will first, let me select what are the columns I want to keep. Let's say I want to show every column. So employee ID, employee name, department ID, and we have salary. This is the table, all the columns from the table. Okay. Now I will calculate sum of salary, right? So I will write sum of salary. Now see, this is the clause called over clause. So over partition by department ID. This is how you will write. Now it will do the same thing as group by clause, but it will show the individual salaries also, individuals details also. So you have to use this over keyword, and in the bracket you have to write partition by what. This is actually you are grouping by department ID. So same here, you are partitioning by department ID. Okay. So make a partition for department ID 10 and another partition for department ID 20. That's what you want to say, and from the table name. So now let me just show you the output once. As we expected, employee ID, employee name, employee's department ID, employee salary, and now sum of salary partitioned by department ID. So for 10, this is the total salary. For department ID 20, this is the total salary. Okay, so you can see that with everybody's individual row, you are just putting their sum of salaries. Okay, clear. Now let's do the second one. let's say rank employees in each department by salary. So see the table. You have to rank them as per their salary. So the person who is getting the highest rank will get 1 rank, second one will get 2, third one will get 3. Got it? So how can you do this? Tell me. First you have to sort them in descending order, right? So I can write select salary. Let's say I'll select all of them. Let me just copy this. Them from employee order by salary DSC. If I do this one, let me just show you once. You will get the salaries in descending order. Now you have to put here rank 1, rank 2, rank 3 in this way. Okay. So you will write rank. This rank function will give you the rank. Okay. Now you have to group them over partition by department ID. You are doing for different departments. Once you make the partition, now you have to order them by salary DSC. Same. So order by salary DSC. Once it is done, close it. Now write from table. You get it? You are selecting employee ID, you are selecting employee name, department ID, salary, and then you are making a partition and giving a rank. Okay, so you have to use rank clause and the same as usual over clause. Clear? Now see, employee ID, employee name, department ID, salary, and see the rank. First one 90,000 got 1 ranked, 85,000 2, 85,000 again 2 because they are getting same salary. Now see, for 75,000 it is 4. So 3 is missing because 2 times 2 is used, that's why 3 is missing. So let's say if you want that you don't want to skip anything, okay, this is fine, they are getting rank 2, but this one you want as 3. Maybe this is your need. So in that case, you just have to use the same one, but you can write dense rank. Okay. Okay. Now if you want, you can change the name of this column, right? For that, you have to write as the name you want to give. Let's give some other name. Okay. Okay, this way you can change the name. Now this time you can see 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so earlier it was only 4, but now it is 3. Okay, without leaving any gaps. This we have done. Next one is row number. Let's say I want to assign unique row number to each row within a partition and ordered by salary. Okay. Now you can easily write select, same thing. Let me just copy. I want to select everything. With that I want to give row number. So you just have to write row number. Row number over same partition by department ID, and you can see ordered by salary. So the same thing, just copy, right? And if you want, you can give as row number from employee table. Now let me show you. See 1, 2, 3, 4 for second department 1, 2, 3. Clear? Okay, now the next one is get the highest standard in the department. So you have to, what will be the output? You have to write everything, employee's ID, employee's name, department ID, salary, then there will be who is getting highest salary. Okay, highest salary's name. Maybe let's say Alice. Now again you are writing details above 90,000 and who is getting salary. So let's say 70,000. So you have to write Alice. Okay, so with every employee you have to mention who is getting the highest salary. That is our output. Okay, now let's see how can we do this. So you have to write select and again I'll select everything. So let me just paste. Now you have to write first underscore value for that employee name, and then you have to write over same concept, partition by department ID and order by salary. Okay. First you are creating a group of department ID, right? You are creating a group of every department ID, you are making the salary sorted. Once it is done, now you are fetching who is getting the maximum, right? From employee table. So you are creating a partition of departments, you are ordering them as per their salary, then you are taking which one is the getting the maximum salary. Now let me show you. Alice. Alice is getting for department ID 10 and Eve is getting for department ID 20. Okay. Now let's do the next one. Let's say I want to know who is the lowest earner. So you can understand this will be the exact opposite. So instead of first, you just have to write last. Okay. So first let me show you the output ones. See. Alice is getting 90, Bob is getting 85, Charlie is also getting 85, David is getting 75. So lowest one is 75,000. So it should be David everywhere, but it is not. Why so? Before explaining this, let me tell you how these rows are actually calculated while performing. There are different ways by which it can be calculated. First one is rows between unbounded preceding and unbounded following. If I take any row, let's say Eve. So while calculating anything on Eve, I will consider unbounded preceding on all the rows which are coming before Eve and unbounded following. That means all the rows which are after following. So we can simply manipulate this. Let's see all the cases one by one. I want to calculate total salary of all employees and display it for every row. Total salary of all employees. Let me show you. So I just want to first calculate the total salary. Then that salary will be after every row. So Alice, all the details of Alice and the total salary. Okay. So let me show you how can I do this. So I will write select. I have to select everything. So let me just copy this. All the details. Then I will calculate sum. So sum of salary. Done. Now I will use the over clause. So over, here I am not making any partition because I am not doing as per the department. I am taking all the employees. So I can simply write order by employee ID. Now if I write from employees. Now let's say employee. Now let me just show you what will be the output. You can see that the total salary is different for everyone. So that is not expected. So by default, this is calculated in a different way. If I want it to be applied on everybody's salary, then you have to write rows between unbounded preceding and unbounded following. Okay. Now if I run this, now see, now there is a change in the output. You can see everyone's salary is equal. So the total salary is calculated. Okay. Now you can understand that here, whenever I have taken, let's say I have taken David. So whenever I have taken David, I have calculated all the rows before David, all the rows after David. Unbounded preceding, unbounded following. Clear? Now let's do the next one. Rows between unbounded preceding and current row. This is the default one also. If you don't mention anything, this will be done. Okay. So what we did just before, let me just copy it. And if I write rows between unbounded preceding and it said current row. Let me first show you, then I'll explain. See, unbounded preceding and current row. Let's take if. So, what is the unbounded preceding? That means every row before if 90,000, this one, this one, this one, let's say this one 90,000 plus 85 plus 85 plus 75,000. All these are calculated and current row and 95. So, Frank and Grace are just avoided. You understand? Let's take another example. Bob. Unbounded preceding, that means Alice and current row and Bob itself. And all others, Charlie, David, Eve, Grace, all are ignored. So 90 plus 85, you can say 175. Right? So in this way, you can calculate. So this will give you the cumulative sum because you can take that current row and unbounded preceding. So it's simply a cumulative sum. So whenever you want to calculate cumulative sum of salaries, you can prefer this one. Okay, and by default also this is the output. So if I just don't write anything, then also it will be the output. Okay, now see, in our last question we exactly used this default one. Now let me explain why it was like that. Now you can see that 90,000, 85,000, 85,000, 75,000. Every time it has considered unbounded preceding and the current row. Okay, that is why the result was different. Now, if I want to compute total remaining salary including current employee and all after. Okay, so simply same thing. I'll just let me copy this one. You are doing the same thing but you are calculating it in different way. Now you are calculating current row and unbounded following. So now just rows between, this will be current row. Just let me show you. Now see, take Frank. As I said, current row, so Frank will be considered and unbounded following after Frank only Grace. So 85 plus 80. So if you add them, then it will be 165. Right? If I take Charlie, so current row, so Charlie 85 and unbounded following. So plus 75 plus 95 plus 85 plus 80. So all these are added here. Alice and Bob are ignored. So you understand when we are prioritizing which one. Depending on that, you can write these queries. If I want rows between 3 preceding and current row, then you can simply write the same thing but just write 3 preceding. So just this way you can paste here. Now if I show you, now see, if I take David, then only 3 preceding. So Alice will be considered, Bob will be considered, Charlie will be considered, and current row, and David will be considered. So if Frank, Grace, they are ignored. Let's say for Frank, 3 preceding. So Charlie will be considered, David will be considered, Eve will be considered, and current row, and Frank. Alice, Bob ignored, Grace also ignored, right? Let me show you one more. Rows between current row and 3 following. Just let me copy. Same, you just can between current row and 3 following. Just let me show you. For Charlie, this will be current row. So Charlie will be considered 85 and 3 following. So David will be considered, Eve will be considered, Frank will be considered. Grace will be ignored, Alice, Bob is also ignored. Okay, so you understand in this way, you can write 3 following, 1 following, 2 following, anything. Rows between 1 preceding and 1 following. So what will happen? Only the first one, the previous one and the next one. Rows between n preceding and n following. So simply you understand the concept that depending on your need, you just can simply write in this way and your calculations will be changed. Fine. Now let's say I want to calculate the second highest standard in the department. So we can write select, just let me copy this. Now write nth value, and here I want the name who is getting second highest. So I will write 2. Okay. If you want third highest, then you will write 3. Now you will write over. Here I am considering every department, so I can just write partition by department. Okay. Now partition by department ID, and I will do order by salary DSC. Okay. Now you can give a name as second highest from table name. Now let me show you. So you can see who is second highest. For first one, at least you cannot find who is the second highest, so that is why in this way. Now you can use this one, whatever you have learned, that whom you want to consider, rows between unbounded preceding and unbounded following. If you just copy this and now let me run this. See. Okay. So depending on which rows you want to consider, you can change. Fine. Now the next one, lag and lead. Lag, just you know what is lag. The previous one, lead, who is leading you. So the previous row salary will give you by lag, and the next row salary you can fetch by lead. Okay, let me show you some example. Select. Let me copy this. Salary. Now use lag. Salary, 1, 0 over same. You just want to partition by department, salary DSC, and from employee table. Now see lag for Bob, Alice is the last one salary, so Alice's salary is fetched. For Charlie, Bob, so that salary is fetched. For David, the last one is Charlie, so Charlie's salary is fetched. For let's say Frank, the last one is Eve, so Eve's salary is fetched. Okay, you can understand. For the first one, there is no previous salary, so that is 0.00. Same here for group ID 20, no previous salary, so it is 0.00, right? What about lead? Let me just copy this. Now I'll write, instead of lag, you just have to write lead. So lead, salary 1, all other things are same. So now let me show you. The next one. See, for Alice, Bob is fetched. For Bob, Charlie is fetched. For Charlie, David is fetched. But for David, there is no next one after David. That is why 0.00. Same here for Grace, there is no next one. So this is 00. Okay. So you can find the previous row salary or the next salary. Okay. And one more thing I forgot to tell you, in case there is a confusion. If you simply just delete this one, and if you just execute this, you can see that this also work. Okay, so it's not that always you have to write something inside over, not like that. If you need, then only you can manipulate. Okay, so over simply means that it will go over through every rows. While doing group by, we were doing based on the group and we were just collapsing it. Okay, but in case of over, you are not collapsing it. You are calculating the aggregate functions. You are calculating the salaries, total salaries, average salaries, but you are also keeping their individuals salaries. Okay, so you are going over every row. Okay, so I hope the concept is completely clear to you. If you like, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye. Happy learning.